Hey, how you doing there again, folks? Me again, of course, Brandon Wenzel. Come back at you. Another offering off my sampler platter. Yes, indeed, folks, I play V series V's I've been doing for a little while now. I go over there to try out food and drink items. I eat stuff, I drink stuff, then, folks. I'm going to talk about stuff. I'm going to let you know all that you need to know about hopefully delicious stuff that time I'm doing this, folks, I'm not going to lie. It's a little bit of a rainy day. The weather is super nice and cool. I'm eating sandwiches, and I got a root beer review. Come on now. And I got a CD. Came in the mail today. I'm super excited. But anyway, folks, super simple format. I'm going to go over there and try out food and or drink items for you. Whilst I'm doing so, I'm yammering on about it for a bit. Whilst I'm doing all that, I'm inside my truck. And whilst I'm doing all that, folks, I'm wearing a super cool shirt. And folks, when I wear super cool shirts, I always like to highlight the super cool shirt. What super cool shirt am I wearing for you today? Well, it happens to be my Cold shirt. Which, if you're unfamiliar with the band Cold, they've been around for quite a while. I know they've at least been around since as Cold, they've been around since the mid-90s. But prior to that, they were a band called Grundig, they were literally the same band, they just changed names. Kind of post-grunge, alternative rock, new metal is sort of where they fall. I became aware of them in the year 2000 with their album 13 Ways to Bleed on Stage. I absolutely loved it, man. Super, just when I think back, whenever I listen to that album, I just think back to these cool, happy times. Me up in my room playing Legend of Legaia with the Cold, with that Cold album playing. It's just, it's like a warm fucking sweater. I've been really fortunate. I've actually seen them perform live a number of times now. And I actually have some videos of said performances on this channel, just in case maybe you want to check them out. I got a whole bunch of concert videos. But anyway, I did bring up a root beer review, didn't I? I did. That's because I just went out to a place called Zenwich, and I just got through reviewing a couple of their sandwiches, a chicken parm sandwich and a spicy shrimp sandwich. Go watch those reviews. And they had some craft sodas available for sale, and boom, it's this one. This is Rocky Mountain Root Beer. Rocky Mountain Soda Co. All Natural Soda Pop. It is vegan, all natural, gluten-free, 140 calories. Ingredients: sparkling Colorado water, vegan cane sugar, natural root beer extracts, non-GMO citric acid. I mean, folks, first of all, can we get a thing for a thing? Will it be better over here? I think it'll be better over here, maybe. Looks like that. Ha 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 ha! Something like that. Or maybe we'll be better like that. I don't know. Ha 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 ha! Something. Anyway, folks, y'all know I love root beer. So much so I have an entire playlist called Root Beer Reviews. I've never had this root beer before. Let's give it a go. Perfect way to wash down a couple delicious sandwiches. Smells like a root beer. Let's give it a go. Ooh. Okay. Hits and misses. So, if you watch my channel long enough and you've seen my root beer reviews, you know that I have a very specific sort of way when it comes to gauging root beers, because I feel like most root beers sort of fall within one of two camps. On the one side, you've got your mugs and your A&W. They're sweeter root beers, very commercially viable. Most people like them. They're easy to drink. Then, on the other side, you've got your Barks and your Dads. They're a little bit harsher, a little bit more root beer tasting, in my personal opinion. I fall more on the root beer side of things. Dads and Barks, right? That's kind of more what I'm looking for in a root beer. I want it to taste like a root beer. And mind you, I can get down with some mug. I reviewed a sugar-free mug not that long ago. Go watch that review. So I can get down with it to a certain extent. But that's sort of where I'm, whenever I try a new root beer, I'm gauging. Where is it falling with that? This is interesting because it kind of has elements of both. You can definitely taste the cane sugar, for sure. It gives, and I don't know what the fuck vegan cane sugar is. I would imagine all cane sugar is vegan because it comes from a plant. But I don't know shit, so, I ain't saying nothing. it definitely has like a different flavor than like, just a more commercialized sugar. There's kind of a strength behind it. A little bit sort of like almost a sort of bitter earthiness along with the sweetness. So it's got that going for it. I like that aspect. It gives it personality. But where it does kind of fall off is that it sort of hits and you get that, like I said, you get that nice sort of cane sugar flavor. Then after that, I don't know, man, it kind of falls off a little bit. It just becomes very smooth and very placid. And while again, I think some people might see that as being a benefit, again, sort of along the A&W, the mug kind of lines. For me, that's disappointing. I like, because you're introducing this, it has character, it has a little depth, and I'm liking that. And then it doesn't finish that well, just kind of, at the end. That's a shame. Because I do like a lot of what it's doing. It has like a proper root beer flavor. It just doesn't have the bite. It doesn't have that, that proper oomph that I want. So again, it's kind of, it's a little bit of a daywalker kind of thing where it's got some of the strengths and some of the weaknesses of both. It definitely has some character, definitely has an interesting flavor to it, and it definitely tastes like a root beer, which are all great things. But then it doesn't really have, any of that nice kind of harshness. It doesn't have it promises depth and it doesn't deliver it, It hits and it's nice, and then once that kind of wavers out, it's just okay. It's not a bad root beer, but like I can get down with it. The cane sugar aspect, and again, maybe it's because it's a vegan cane sugar, I don't know. It really does have a very interesting hit to it. Again, kind of a bitterness. It's one of those things where it's like, I both like and dislike it. It doesn't blend with all the other flavors, but again, it does help it give sort of like a personality to it and gives a little something extra, so, yeah, I'm kind of here or there on it, but I do think overall I like it. But two questions have to be asked. Would I get it again? Would I recommend it? On occasion, and sure-ish. I think for me personally, it's one of those things, I like some of what it's doing. I like the root beer flavor to it. I like the cane sugar aspect of it, even though, again, it's a little bit polarizing for me, which is weird because I'm one person. But it is one of those things where it's like, I like part of it, I dislike this part of it, but I think overall I like the overall. I like the personality it has. I like that it doesn't taste quite like any other root beer that I've had. So I can get down with a lot of those things. But it lacks that punch and that real just like root beerness that I really like. So it's one of those things where it's like, I could see, like I said, I got this from Zenwich. I've not seen it anywhere else around me. I don't go out to Zenwich that often. I really like their spot, but I just have so many other really good places around me that I rotate. So eventually I get back to places. I think if I was back at Zenwich, I would pick one up, because I do like it as a root beer, and it's an interesting root beer, even if it doesn't fulfill all the promise that I think that it has. And if I'm recommending it to people, it really does. It's one of those ones that's a little bit hard to recommend because, I don't think it really satisfies quite on either side. I think that the people who would be more inclined towards it would be people like myself, people who like root beers a little bit harsher, a little bit more personality. Because although this is kind of sweet, and again, it has a very smooth flavor, I could see those harsher elements that are present in it being off-putting. Whereas I feel for the people who like those elements, the somewhat lackluster finish and, somewhat minimal depth, maybe not off-putting, maybe just a little bit disappointing, but I do think that it's interesting, and I do think that if you like root beer, it's worth a shot. I just don't know how you're going to take it, but I think there's something to it. 5 things before I get out of here. Have yourself a great rest of your day, spectacular rest of your week, monumental rest of your month, stupendous rest of your folks. Go over there and have yourselves a truly root beer-tastic rest of your life, because when it's root beer, it's always root beer-tastic. Final 2 things. Number 1, try to bring some positivity in the world. It's not always possible. It is, however, always appreciated, but what you do if you can't do all the time, I know I can't do all the time. Here's what you're going to do, folks. You're going to try not to be an asshole. Folks, not always the easiest thing in the world to not be an asshole. Trust me. I know it. I live it. I'm out there every day with you in it. Life can be stressful and frustrating and just bullshit sometimes, folks. And when we find ourselves in situations where we have to deal with said bullshit, it's important that we go over there whenever possible. Take a step back, try to mitigate the level of assholishness in our lives, hopefully do better for ourselves and for those around us. Very final thing, folks, do the thing. Whatever the thing is for you, that's what I want you to go out and do. Folks, maybe you're like perfectly affiliated with Rocky Mountain Root Beer. Maybe it's a root beer that you're a really big fan of. And if you would like to comment to that effect in the comments section, I'd be happy to hear about it. Because when it comes like root beer for me, aside from the fact that I love it, I think it's such a personal thing in a way that I don't feel like all sodas are. Like there's a lot of sodas that are just good corporate sodas. It's like you got your Sprite, you got your 7-Up. It's good. It's a good time. And, colas, obviously, there's certain ones. Root beer is one of those ones, though, where it's like, there's obviously the big names, your A&W, your Mug and what have you. But I've always felt like, especially like once you get past that initial layer, there's just such a cool wealth of root beers available, and like it's like an artisanal kind of thing. Comment to that effect, folks. I'd really like to hear what your takes on these things are. Anyway, bye.